What's up, guys? It's me. Welcome back to another scam story where we try to warn you guys about scams so that you don't fall for them. Today's scam story is about a fake crowdfunding campaign for an NGO called Think Tank, and it also includes things like fake news articles, fake social media accounts, and fake press releases. So yeah, I think this one is pretty crazy, and I hope that it can warn people about giving money to just anyone online. So in today's story, a certain person started making a lot of posts on his Facebook account saying that he was raising funds for an NGO called Think Tank. And if you're not sure what an NGO is, it basically stands for non-governmental organization. And these are organizations which are basically set up to serve a social or political cause such as environmental protection, poverty alleviation, human rights, education, healthcare, economic development, and so on. In this case, the NGO that this guy was supposedly raising funds for was called Think Tank, and their stated mission was to help underprivileged children in collaboration with various government agencies and other NGOs. This guy said that he had personally witnessed the living conditions of these children, and he wanted to raise funds to improve their quality of life. He also posted pictures of him visiting this orphanage and the kids there. He started a GoFundMe page where he set out to raise $3,000, and he raised almost $1,000 from 245 backers. Now he kept on making posts saying how grateful he was for all of the donations and how much of an impact they would have on the children's lives. But the thing is, these posts didn't include any information about how the donations were actually being used. Like, he never gave any updates on how the money was being spent or the impact it was having on the children. Now, before I get into the part where he scammed everyone, I think it's important to point out that even though this guy did end up scamming everyone, the fact that he was raising funds for a good cause doesn't make him a bad person. Like, we should still appreciate the fact that he was trying to do something good for society. And even though he ended up scamming everyone, at least he didn't keep the money for himself. Like, he actually donated it to a legitimate charity organization. So I guess the only thing that makes this a scam is the fact that he was pretending that he was raising funds for a legitimate NGO when in reality there was no such NGO. It turns out that Think Tank wasn't registered as a charity organization, and they didn't have any bank accounts or fiscal sponsors either. And after a little bit more digging, it was discovered that the orphanage that this guy kept mentioning also didn't exist. The address that he provided didn't lead to an orphanage, and instead, it led to a residential home. Now, in addition to all of this guy created a fake website for Think Tank, and he also made fake news articles and press releases that talked about Think Tank and how it was helping underprivileged children. He even created fake social media accounts for Think Tank, and he posted stories about the children there, and he encouraged people to donate through those accounts as well. After some more digging, it turned out that the guy behind all of this was a 26-year-old man who lived with his parents in Florida, and apparently he had done similar things in the past, like raising funds for fake charities, and he even pretended to be a journalist for a while. Now, in this particular instance, he got caught because a reporter named Natalie O'Neill did some digging, and she discovered all of the inconsistencies in his story. She found out that the pictures that he was using for the GoFundMe page were actually stolen from a legitimate charity organization called One Day's Wages. Like, there was nothing official about them. And she even found a few errors in the articles which made it obvious that they were just fake. She then reached out to GoFundMe and she explained everything to them, and GoFundMe ended up refunding all 245 customers. So I guess that was a good thing, but the sad thing is this guy still hasn't been held accountable for any of this, like he hasn't been charged for any of it. And the reason for that is because it's hard to prove intent. Like, in order for this to be considered fraud, it would need to be proven that this guy intended to deceive people when he started this campaign. And it's hard to prove that, because he could argue that he genuinely believed that he was helping underprivileged children. I mean, I'm not saying that what he did was right. Of course, it was wrong. but he might be able to convince a jury that he was just misguided, but he truly believed that he was doing the right thing. So yeah, this case is kind of weird because on one hand you have all of this evidence that points to this guy being a scammer, but on the other hand you have this guy who claims that he just wanted to help children. And, I don't know, maybe there's some sort of middle ground where it's not quite fraud, but it's also not just a misunderstanding. Anyway, I don't really know how the law works in this case, but I do know that if you're ever going to donate to a charity or an NGO, make sure that you do your research first. Don't just trust everything that you see on Facebook or Instagram. You should always Google the organization to see if they're legit, and you should always read the fine print to see how the donations are being used. You can also use websites like Charity Navigator and GuideStar to research charities in the US, because they provide information on a charity's finances and their effectiveness. You can also look up the charity on the IRS website to see if they're a registered 501c3 organization, because that means that they're tax-exempt and that they're eligible to receive tax-deductible donations. If you're ever unsure about a charity, you can also contact the Attorney General's office in your state to see if they have any complaints against the charity. So yeah, if you're ever considering donating to a charity, please do your research first. And that's all I ask. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked this video, consider subscribing. That would be great. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys in another video soon. Bye-bye.